Okay, we're going to tie a Slate Drake with a size 94831. This is a size 14 hook. They're a little longer to match up with the Slate Drake. Tie on some dark brown thread. Then we got tails from this microfibers, and there's actually 4 fibers, but then you match them up so they're in pairs. The tips are pretty even, and if you're tying up for a Slate Drake, the distinguishing characteristic of this is extremely long tails. So you divide them. Sometimes that's real simple like that was. Other times it takes a little while to crisscross them or to separate them. I just come around and separate them once. So the next step is get some deer hair for the post. Put that in your stacker. Tap it down. So the ends are all even. And if you have some opposite ends that were upside down, just pull those out like that. And have the ends about even with the bend, maybe a hair longer, not that critical. When you're coming around here, the first couple wraps, 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, and then start pulling it down, make it a little tighter, and then tight, and they'll splay at the end like it did here, and then pull them up underneath, and trim them off. And then take your thread and this little splayed ends, tighten them down, and then pull it up, pinch it here, come around the base. Probably two wraps is what I do, and then I'm going to come around with the bobbin and the thread and stabilize the bottom of the post. Okay. Next is take this medium to dark, medium brown hackle, which was a combination of different kinds of colors of rabbit that I've dyed to get the proper tone, and it's, or shade I should say. It's a medium brown. I would say, not really dark, because once it gets wet, it'll get a little darker. I reach over to my left to get in this little container. There's a scouring pad with some water in it, just to moisten my index finger and thumb. And then the key here is also not to have this the dubbing here very thick. It should be thin, and then you can regulate the elongated body, which is thin. Okay, I'm going to start at the eye and go back just a few threads, or a few turns, and because I don't want a real thick head, I want an elongated body the entire length. Go around the back and then come forward. Okay. I'm not too concerned about the front of the fly here. It's some hackles or some post materials here. It's not a big deal because the hackle will cover that up. I got a piece of saddle hackle here. I'm going to strip that off, about like that. Tie it in the back side here. Probably four wraps around that if I can get it in there. Figure 8 it, and then bring it forward. I can cover up that. Now I used to put hackle here, but I've realized that I don't need to because it's going to be covered up. Plus the threads in the bottom could look like little legs or appendages that are fastened to it. So I don't think that's a big deal anymore. So 1, 2, 3, come back down around 4, and maybe 5. Just to cover up the thread at the top of the post. And put the thread around here. I'm going to pull up the hackle and go underneath that. Lay the bobbin back on the vise. I'm going to trim this off like that. And then with the whip finish, I'm going to come around and finish that off to make a neat head. And then I'm going to trim off the thread. And I got the hackle there too. Okay. I'm going to take a little more water and I'm going to put those tails together. Not that they'll stay together, but if they get wet when you're fishing, that'll be fine. But that's the way it looks to start with. So you can see the underside. Okay. There might be a little hackle showing that one side there. Trim that up. It should be pretty good. Okay. Slate Drake 94831 hook.